Hello everyone. Today we are starting with Chapter 6, Gilderoy Lockhart. The Great Hall at Breakfast. A ragged, grey owl, Errol, as it's spiraling out of control, eventually face-planting into Hermione's jug of milk. He is clutching a smoking, blood-red envelope. The background chatter of 500 students dies instantly. For Ron Weasley, the nightmare didn't end with the car, it began with an owl. In the book, the Howler is a physical presence. It's smoking at the corners, smelling faintly of gunpowder. Neville Longbottom warns Ron to open it quickly, recalling his own experience. It's horrible if you don't. The voice of Mrs. Weasley roars through the hall, 100 times louder than usual. The plates on the table actually rattle from the sound. Stealing the car, I wouldn't have been surprised if they'd expelled you. The humiliation is total. Every eye in the school is on the Gryffindor table. When the letter finally finishes by telling Ginny how proud they are of her, it burns itself into a pile of grey ash. This scene establishes that while the wizarding world is magical, it still has a parent's fury. At Greenhouse 3, Professor Sprout, covered in patches and dirt, stands before a row of wooden trays. Harry, Ron, and Hermione are struggling to put on large, pink, fluffy earmuffs. The air is thick with the scent of damp soil and ancient fertilizer. This isn't just a gardening lesson. Professor Sprout is preparing the cure for the dark year ahead. She introduces the Mandrakes. In the book, they are described as small, muddy, extremely ugly babies with leaves growing out of their heads. It isn't crying, it's screaming. Its skin is a mottled green-brown, and its tiny hands are flailing. Even with earmuffs, the students feel a vibrating pressure in their chests. Harry is partnered with Justin Finch-Fletchley, a Hufflepuff who mentions he was nearly sent to Eton. This is a vital setup for the pureblood versus Muggleborn tension that will soon explode. The lesson is exhausting, leaving the students covered in sweat and dragon dung compost. Then they were at defense against the dark arts classroom. Every available inch of wall space is covered in portraits of Gilderoy Lockhart, himself winking, himself brushing his hair, himself fighting a werewolf. The real Lockhart enters, wearing forget-me-not blue robes. Lockhart's first class is a masterpiece of narcissism. He doesn't start with a wand, he starts with a 3-page test. But as Harry looks at the paper, his heart sinks. The questions aren't about magic. Question 1, what is Gilderoy Lockhart's favorite color? Question 27, what is Gilderoy Lockhart's greatest achievement to date? Hermione's has filled every line, even knowing that his favorite color is lilac. This shows Hermione's one weakness, her respect for authority, even when that authority is a fraud. Lockhart is a man obsessed with his own legend, treating Harry not as a student, but as a fellow celebrity. Lockhart then pulls a cover off a large cage. Inside are freshly caught Cornish Pixies, electric blue, tiny, and vibrating with destructive energy. Lockhart gives a wink and opens the cage door. This is the moment the legend of Lockhart falls apart. In the book, the Pixies are like a blue hurricane. They don't just fly, they shred everything. They grab Neville by the ears and hoist him onto a chandelier. They tear textbooks into confetti. They spray ink across the portraits. Lockhart attempts a spell, Peskipiksi Pesternomi. He waves his wand with a flourish, and nothing happens. A pixie snatches his wand and tosses it out the window. Lockhart flees to his office, leaving 12-year-olds to fight the monsters he couldn't. Hermione saves the day with an immobilist charm, but the truth is out, their teacher is a coward. The mood shifts. The bright colors of the classroom fade to the cold, gray stones of the corridor. Harry is walking alone, the sound of his footsteps echoing. He is walking back from a detention with Lockhart when he hears it. A voice that seems to come from the very stones of the castle. It is cold, sibilant, and hungry. Harry pressing his ear against the cold wall. The sound of water rushing through pipes is heard, and then the whisper, "Come, come to me, let me rip you, let me tear you. I smell blood." Harry is terrified. He runs to find Ron and Hermione, but when he explains what he heard, they look at him with confusion. Even in the wizarding world, hearing voices isn't a good sign. The chapter ends with a chilling realization, that terrible things Dobby warned about have finally arrived. We laughed at the Howler and the Pixies, but the real story just started. Why can only Harry hear the voice in the walls? And if the defense against the dark arts teacher is a fraud, who is going to stop the monster when it finally comes out of the pipes? Subscribe for Chapter 7, The Blood on the Wall.